Stand back, Bumblebee. It's my turn at bat.
Welcome back to the Tactical Game Hanger. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about the FansToys FT-48 Jive. Their take on a very G1-esque jazz. And it looks really good. This figure is pretty solid. It looks good. We're going to take a look at it, but is it better than what's out there? Is it worth the price point? We're going to talk about this and more. I did get this to Show Z and let them know that I sent you with putting TH in support reviewer. So let's take a look at Jive. Alright, let's take a quick look at the box. Looks like all the FansToys stuff you see in the past, and you've got some artwork on the front and alt note on the side, Jive. The back shows the actual product and what you're going to get, and then more artwork down there. There's the box. I don't know why with this release this tissue paper like Hasbro's doing with the Dungeons and Dragons figures instead of plastic. I'm curious. This is really interesting that they did that. Take a look at this guy right out of the box. I was impressed. It felt impressive, very impressive, and feels good. It feels really nice. Now I do have two other versions. We will be doing that comparison here in a bit, but looking at this guy overall, there is a lot of toon accurate stuff going on here, such as down here in the lower legs and the feet. Let's get all that in frame, and all of this is sort of toon painted, but then we have the metallic accents here and here and here, and then on the visor and all that good stuff. So there's a lot of really good things to be said about this figure, and so I think people waiting for the FansToys might be impressed with this guy, but when we get to comparisons, we'll talk about that. Now, looking at the back, pretty clean, pretty clean. Now, I do want to point out, and I think it looks most notable, which I didn't lock that in place, but most notable from the back here, how narrow that they made the wheel well. So they had to use a faux wheel well. That's sort of ingenious how they did that to achieve that, but yeah, it looks pretty good and well articulated to get pretty much what you need out of any pose that you'd want from him, and so with that, it does work pretty good. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at his accessories. We are going to start off with this gun of his, and it does look pretty good. It's just painted gray. No other accents to it, but it's pretty much what I would expect. Actually, I would have actually liked it a little bit shiny or something, but oh well. Now, it's not the super shiny missile that's on here, and I don't think it's removable, and it just kind of clips on the back like this, and so once you've done it once or twice, it's pretty simple to keep it going, and so get that missile in frame. So it's pretty cool. It looks pretty good, but you kind of need to remove it if you're going to put these bad boys on. So the way we put these on is there's one for each different side, so it folds out to the outside. So clip it on, it folds to the outside. So exactly the same way that you put that one on, you would clip this on, and there it goes. And then you kind of fold it over, and I guess now we need to go up. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So he has some articulation to his speakers and all that good stuff. So, jazz. Yeah, looks good. What else does he have? He has a grappling hook. So this gun of his, let's pull it out. When you pull, I need to figure out how to lock that in a little bit better. This has that rear tab that tabs into the palm, which is something they do with the Carbots. It seems like pretty much most or all of their Carbots are doing that. But we're going to transform his arm. So we're going to need to fold this in. And we have a grappling hook. And then it's going to plug in. I think the shorter ones look like they go on the bottom. There it is. And that plugs in, and he's able to have a grappling hook, which actually is pretty solid grappling hook. And it can hold him. Let's see. Hold him up. That's pretty slick. Now, as for winding it back up, that's a different story. You got this little piece over here, and it's, if you want to invest a whole minute, you got to do that to wind it back up. 59 and 60. Yep, minute to wind it back up. Okay, there we go. And so that's really a cool accessory, and it is kind of a shiny paint to it. And lastly, of course, he's got faces, so let's move all this junk out the way here and get a look at his face, and his face looks good. Yep, I like this one the most. And with that, we're still going to, let's see about changing this face out. So getting in there and pulling that one out. Now we've got two other faces, and I'll plug one in here randomly. Which one is going to be next? Whichever one this is. So there's a hole. There's a hole in his head. Last thing you need, Jazz, is another hole in your head, but there you go. Now you do. You have it. Here's Happy Jazz. So, happy Jazz? Does that sound right? Does Jazz sound like a happy guy? Okay, let's look at the other one. This one's either yelling or... Come on, man. Come on, man. So for the wing options, I like to leave mine up, but if you want to take yours down, then you fold it down, and then you fold it in, like so. And that's kind of how that works. Okay, why are you folding down? And so that's why I haven't locked it in place, because I knew I was going to have to show this, and then I'm not really. Plus the transformation, all that. Once I'm finally done, I'm going to keep it. I keep wings out. I go wings out, laces out. All right, let's see if we can push the limits of articulation with this guy. Now that the wings are out of the way, head goes way up. That's not a ball joint. That is serious way up, and a little more because of the head replacement swap. I do like the way you swap the head on this. That's, don't got to remove screws, and it's not that bad. You can look down. It sort of breaks the skull, but you know, whatever. Then arm goes out to, all right, am I doing something wrong here? Doesn't look like it goes out that much. A nice tight 360 ratchet, and then bicep swivel, little past, quite past the 90. Now the hand is 3 typewriter fingers and a trigger and a solid thumb, so a little more than what they're doing with their mini bots, I guess. Then you have the ab crunch to about there. That's not bad. And then swivel, and that works. Then let's see with this leg. Now it's old-fashioned hip flap. So a couple things on this. The hip flaps, the way they're doing things, start to make me think this is a really old design. Although they just announced it like, what, a year and a half ago or something like along those lines. And then I didn't lock these knees in place because I am about to transform it. And I just want to keep things as easy as I can. But you can lock those knees into place. It's not really even a necessity, but if you really want it to look perfect. Now, okay, now you go all the way up to here, all the way back to there, and then you do have this past the 90 on. So it's not quite a double joint, and you probably get a little, probably would expect a little bit more out of this, but I don't think it's that bad, really, for the knee. Get that back in place. Everything's so tight, which is great. So you do, I guess no swivel at the knee, but you have the thigh swivel going on right there, and then with the foot. Now the foot, I don't like how they did it. It's not the end of the world. It's just, I don't feel like he's as stable when he's plugged in as he is when it's sort of unplugged. But it does sort of turn the heel if it's plugged in. This side here, I left it unplugged, and I just feel like he's a little more solid with the unplugged foot than the plugged foot. But maybe I'm just splitting hairs on that one. Okay, so this is the comparison you are looking for. So in comparison, this one is Toy World. Zeta made the same exact design, but like a shinier paint job, I believe. This one is the Make Toys, or Make Toys, if you like to say that. So with them, looking at all of them, I personally don't think anyone that just wants to display a nice looking Jazz on a shelf could go wrong with any of these. It's a little bit more stylized over here, a little bit closer, but see, people raved about the Make Toys, and I didn't think it was the best. I didn't think it was the greatest, and I really do like the FansToys aesthetic better. Of course, I want as close to G1 accurate as possible, and Make Toys is a little bit outside of that, but I do want to point out, looking how thick the lower part is here. They used a faux piece. It's a faux kind of rear wheel well, and so over here you just got it all just hanging. So it does make for a smoother, easier transformation to not have a faux part like that. So that's why the transformation's a little bit more rugged, rough and rugged. But looking at all three of these, you can't go wrong with any of them, but I still like FansToys the most. Is it worth the price to you, or would you go get some bargain bins of these? I see people selling this guy for 50 bucks now. Make Toys selling for 50 bucks, and that's crazy. Here is size comparison wise with quite a few different Carbots. I actually thought Trax was taller than this, but anyway, I thought you were taller. Looks good, fits in, it's the right scale. I would like overall Carbots to have been taller than they are. But you really can't go rewrite history, and it is what it is, and I'm just going to accept that. We might talk a little bit more about that. We are definitely talking more about that Friday. So here he is compared to the G1, so you can see where we came from, where we're going, and what all is going on. I do like the doors out, kind of like we had with the G1. Of course, they don't go out as far as I'd like, but it's still fine. It looks so much better. Where did we come from? Where are we going? Before anybody says anything like, Mike, why don't you have his accessories on? Because I just don't feel like going through all these. Every time I do a review, I store them in alt mode, so there's a long day of going through these. All right, so getting into transformation, let's start out by taking his accessories off, OFT, and then we are going to come down here and open this up, close his fist. Let's get the hands done first, as in with pretty much every transformation. Just get it out of the way so you're not messing with it later. Push in a little more. Okay, so getting down to the leg here, we're going to lift up the faux piece, untab it, it lifts up. We're going to untab the foot, fold this out. We're also going to start untabbing this side piece here. We're going to untab it from here, and then untab that tab there, right there, and then we're going to fold the leg out. Like so, and there's going to be a whole lot of stuff going on in here. So let's clear this piece out. So they're hiding the rear wheel well, the real one, inside of here. So we need to rotate up this tire. So let's get it out, and it's going into there, like so, and then we can kind of make the wheel well. And then we will need to rotate this around and then around again. There's a lot of rotating going on here. Getting it past that is a challenge. Don't want to flex too much, but you know, usually the materials are pretty good. There we go. Wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle it past. And then from here you're going to fold this back and then kind of tighten all this up. And so you can see that coming together, but we need to make sure that we keep this folded up because it's going to tuck away. And then we can fold this piece heel spur in, and then we're going to fold this out. This is coming down, like so. So this foot's going to go into here. Then this is all going to rotate down, and the foot was kind of stopping it for a second. This is going to go down here, and then this is going to fold in, and it's all going to connect right here. You just got to be really careful because it's so well painted and all that good stuff. Now, when you're in this spot, this is going to be an open gap because it's got to be open gap because we've got other parts coming out of here that are going to connect with it. So let's do the other side a little more tactfully than that one went. Now untab this down here, spread all that open. We're going to open, 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 and then pull this out. Flip it around. And then get into all of this same stuff. Now I'm going at it slightly different than I did before, but we need to get this piece out the way, fold this tire around, which barely has clearance, plug all of that back in, and then fun. And then fold this around, tap it back into place. Make sure that this piece is out of the way right now. And then we're going to get into doing it from the other side. Let's right now fold this heel spur piece in, fold the foot up, start moving this whole segment down into place. So we'll encapsulate that foot. This is going to go in. It's kind of, I think it kind of feels like you're doing it all at once, really. But definitely don't force it. If it doesn't go, figure out what angle you're not quite at right. This is the price that you pay for it to look good in both modes. It's the truth. You're paying a price. You're paying a toll. It's not a latex. It's a good-looking toll. Good look toll. All right. That'd make for a good video, huh? Okay, let's move on to the other parts of the legs. Oh, didn't have that quite in there just yet. I kind of get it in there. There's still a little bit of a gap for me, but push that into place. We'll see once it's all done. It should probably work out. Iron out some wrinkles. All right, let's open this up here. Let's get in here and untab the waist piece. And then we are going to fold this down and up at the same time. Okay, this part feels scary. I do want to point out that there's a flap that you want to kind of fold down. I didn't show. Oh, there it is. That flap is still in place on that side. We'll fold down on that one in a bit. But you're going to fold this forward and tuck this under and go all the way up like so. Kind of crazy. Do the same thing on this side. We are going to fold this flap in. So just disconnect this stuff, fold that flap down, out of the way. Let's get it out of the way. And then get this back in place, which now it's easier said than done now. Okay. Again, not the most funnest transformation, but let's get this part done. So pushing this back through the knee, and it's going to ratchet up a bit. You're gonna have this down, and we're going to unhook everything in the back again. This side I had more trouble with than the other side. All right, so fold that up. And it should come down, making sure everything clears. Now it is a bit of a slider here, so this slides over to help cover all that. So I guess the first one did it on its own, but we're going to go in as far as it goes and then start putting things together. It's like, wow. Tab it all together and get it all working. All right, let's move to more of the upper body. Okay, getting into the upper body, we're going to lift this up, which is kind of clever also. They have a little disconnect feature here. Where this just kind of clicks in and locks in place, which that's kind of cool. All right, so that's out of the way. We are going to separate this chest, and as far as we can go without breaking anything, we do need to rotate the head around, and wow, it stays in the front. Okay, put the head about like that. And so the big thing here is we're going to need to slide this down on these sliders. So there's the sliding mechanism, there's the metal piece. It's a die-cast sliders, and that was nice and smooth. And then we can kind of keep the doors out of the way while we're doing all of this. And then we have to rotate this entire segment over. So this entire segment, clear that. Now we're going to plug all of this fun stuff in. This piece here is part of the hood, or the grill. There's no ice in that grill. Okay, there we go. Looking good so far. And so now we're getting pretty close to looking like a car, right? Let's fold up these panel fillers, these filler pieces, and get that tucked away, out of the way, before we get into any more crazy stuff going on here. So we do have this hood piece that we need to take care of. So it's going to go into here. And then we're going to take these are window filler pieces that are tabbed in, and then just kind of rotate them out. And oddly enough, they're on a ball joint, so it rotates out either way. No way is wrong for that. And it's going to come down and click into place into here. So we've got the front end in place up front. Keep that in place. Over and under. Over and under. Remember, we're paying the price for look good in both modes. Don't forget that. And then it comes down here. And let me just go at it from a different angle and get this in here like so. These pieces have to go around it, and that's kind of what was holding me up. Tighten that in. That was kind of holding me up there. And then making sure that we keep this in place as we tuck it underneath the hood. And over and under with that, and that piece keeps coming out. We'll have to tighten that up from the bottom. So we're tabbing those tabs into the top there, and so now we've got the top of it done. At this point, we can get the doors, if we get them lined up just right to plug in. For the doors, remember, we've got to get these pieces here out of there, and then we have to rock it into place. And for some reason, I'm not getting it rocked into place just right. Let's do it from the side that we can. Okay, so I'm applying some pressure downward like that to get it in there. A little trickier than it should be. Okay, let's say everything is trickier than it should be on this guy. I don't think this is fuzz level, though. It's not quite X-Translot's fuzz level, but it is darn near close with some of this stuff. There it goes. I think. Yep, there it goes. It's probably easier than I'm making it look. Sorry. Now to get to the doors, or the arms. Okay, so we are basically copying G1 for the most part with this. And so what we are going to do is get this wheel ready to go in. And so we just want to position our arms like it's a G1 or something. So one's up, one's down. I don't think it matters which one goes on which side. I'm not sure if it matters, but we're about to find out, aren't we? So we're going to rotate this joint around. And then we're going to bring this down in to fill this cavity as this guy, come on, this guy goes into here. This is going to go into here, and this is going to tab in. This is going to tab in here all at the same time. Try to keep all that in frame. So, lift, I think to make the other one easier, I'll show it a little bit better. That does clip into there. Now, we are going to lift this up, roll it around. The whole joint rolls around like that. And then this goes into place like so. Put this one up here into its position, and then rotate that around again and just tab everything in. So at this point, it's just tab-tastic now for all this stuff. There's a tab that goes into the top and all of this. So, well, we're at the cleanup point. I'm going to clean this guy up just a little bit, and we'll take a look at it. So that was fun. That was fun. It seems like it does kind of roll here. It looks good. It looks really good. I'm not going to take that away from it. It looks fantastic. I do think that you got to play with these wheels to get them aligned just right to roll. because at first it wasn't rolling, so that was something. Going around and tabbing everything in, and just like I suspected, it sort of tabbed in a whole lot better once it was done. I was just sitting there trying to mess with certain aspects of the tabs, and I think once it's one tab's holding another tab together, and it's how FansToys does it. Like getting hung up on this one little section being perfect, it's going to pop back out until it's all holding itself together. And that is kind of something I've experienced with FansToys. I don't know why they had to make this one so complex, even though it does share a lot of G1 engineering. But take a look at this guy. You do have this blue, so they are going with blue windshields, and this little darker blue in the back to hide some stuff. Sadly, you see a bunch of junk inside, so that's not really, I don't know. I would have actually liked, maybe, since the windshield's there, look more like a tune. We'll probably get a repaint. Probably not. I don't know. FansToys doesn't do those kind of repaints that often, but it looks fantastic. It's striking. It looks just like you'd expect for a Porsche. The bottom looks like G1. We'll see that here in a second in a comparison. These tabs kind of come out sometimes from the back. It looks good. I squeeze this together. I'm sure I got something slightly misaligned in there so it doesn't hold perfect, but for 5 minutes in this mode, it really doesn't matter. It's not going to stay in this mode for long, so. But it is a good mode. It does look really good, and I like it. But let's take a look at some quick comparisons. So here he is next to his good old buddy Fuzz. Now, I'm going to say that this is almost a Fuzz level transformation. But the biggest difference between these two is when you're done with this one, it feels solid and it's all in place. When I'm done with this one, I feel like I don't want to touch it or something. One thing's going to pop out and it's all going to just like, I still feel like this thing's going to fall apart, or not fall apart, but separate if I mess with it too much. They both have the opening door gimmick, and the thing is that with a Jazz, it makes sense. With this Fuzz figure, it doesn't make any sense why they did that. Here's next to the vintage, and the vintage one looks good. This one looks a lot like the vintage. It's really close. I mean, you can put your own sticker on there, and if you buy from Show Z, you're gonna get like another one of these Grimlock cards and stickers to do like 10 figures and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Back. Yeah, it looks a whole lot like the G1, especially when they do the arms and just all the way down. Although that's not vac metallized on those pieces. These pieces aren't vac metallized. If they vac metallized those pieces, it would match this a little bit more, but super close. So many shared, like this whole section here, shared engineering with the G1. That's kind of cool. Here he is next to MP-44. We can push this back out, and then we have Hot Rod. We have right there. That's how he looks. He looks pretty good. He fits. What accessories do you speak of? What? We have accessories? Okay. So we are going to clip on this to here. Like so. Then we can clip it to the back. Like so. And I'm not sure if that's painted or not, but it doesn't seem to be like a big deal. And clip the speakers on. Now, I didn't say this. I might not have said it earlier. I don't remember. Those are vac metallized. Sweet. Vac metallized. Sweet, sweet, sweet vac metal. There it is. With adjustable speakers so you can have it whatever height you want. And looks good. Kind of jazzy, if you ask me. So this has been my look at FansToys Jive, and I think it's a pretty solid figure. I think it's what people have been waiting for a Jazz figure overall. And yes, the transformation is not fun, and yes, it's very tuned, but there's enough of that nice detail in it to give you some metallic flex here and there, some metallic paint, accents here and there. I do like the lower legs and all of that kind of stuff, so it's a win in my book. I like it. I won't be flipping it back and forth a lot, but if you do like to flip back and forth, maybe flip the Make Toys. Who knows? But let me know what you think in the comments below. I did get this Show Z, and remember to support your reviewer and let them know I sent you there. Like, subscribe to Hanger out.
Blackout City. We better check in with Autobot headquarters.